That's a pretty cool bubble you got there, Paul.
Oh no.
Today I'm giving you my review of the new Titan subclass, the Behemoth. Cool name. Get it, you guys? Do you get it? Cool name? Because, never mind. Overall thoughts on the Behemoth. I'm sure there's going to be a bunch of people out there who put a lot of time into perfecting the Behemoth and making it work for them, but IMO, I think it needs work. When the class does what you want it to do, it's undeniably fun. That being said, a lot of the Behemoth's tools either require very specific timing and spacing to work properly, and might not be as easy to master as other classes, cough cough, Shadebinder Warlock. But before we get going, I want to give a shout out to the sponsor of today's video, Ridge Wallets. These things are beautiful, and I'm glad to promote them on my channel because I've actually been using one myself for about the past year. No joke, this right here has been my actual wallet. A lot of guys I know are still lugging around wallets like this. Big, bulky, floppy, and uncomfortable, doesn't sit well in your pocket, and you gotta move it around when you sit down. As I mentioned, over a year of the Ridge wallet, and I'm just never going back. It's light, sleek, and efficient. It doesn't fold or bulge out awkwardly in your pocket. It's got room for all my cards, and a clip for bills when I am carrying cash. They've got over 30 colors and styles on their website, including carbon fiber and burnt titanium. Sounds like a Destiny shader. They've got 30,000 5-star reviews, one of them being mine, and each wallet comes with a lifetime warranty. Yes, you can buy just one wallet and boom, carry and use it for life. The Ridge is so confident you'll like it that they'll let you test drive it for 45 days, and if you don't, you can send it back for a full refund. Get 10% off today with free worldwide shipping and returns by going to ridge.com/falloutplays and use promo code falloutplays. Link to their site in the video description, and thank you again to Ridge for sponsoring today's video. Alright, back to the Behemoth. I'm gonna start off by covering the grenade abilities. If you've seen my Shadebinder guide, I'm literally going to be using that information verbatim as the grenades are identical across all three new classes. To skip to the Titan-specific abilities, use the timestamps in the video description. Okay, first up we got the Glacier Grenade, your very first nade option. Throw it, create a wall of ice that lasts for about 15 seconds, kind of a fairly long time. Nice if you want to prevent an enemy from chasing you, keeping guardians off of power ammo or off of the cap point, yada yada. Remember though, you can shoot and destroy the glacier walls at any time, and so can your enemies. Because the Glacier Grenade can create platforms of ice, remember you can use them to jump, meaning if you want to catch some enemies off guard, you can always throw one at a wall, then really take them by surprise from way high up in the air. Also, throwing a Glacier Nade directly down at your own feet can be a very quick way to pop yourself up in the air. Maybe if you want to hit the enemy with a rocket launcher or something. Throwing a Glacier Nade directly at an enemy will freeze them if they get caught up in the ice wall. If you shoot and break an ice wall that either contains an enemy or is simply near an enemy, the shattering of that ice wall will cause splash damage, about 84 damage at maximum. Also, if frozen, remember you can break out of being frozen, but you will damage yourself by doing so. Despite taking damage when breaking out of being frozen, you can apparently never kill yourself by defreezing. You'll be left with minimal health each and every time if you're already weak. Use the Glacier Nade if you want to get creative with both approaching enemies from the air or platforming where enemies won't expect you, and area denial. Next up we have the Duskfield Grenade, and holy hell do I love the Duskfield Grenade. It doesn't last as long as the Glacier Nade, only about 7 seconds total duration. It also doesn't do a ton of damage, even a direct hit on your enemy won't even come close to breaking their shield. What the Duskfield Grenade does do though is both disorient and slow down your enemy a ton. Any enemy in a Duskfield zone who doesn't leave the area of effect within a 3-second window is going to become frozen. Remember, freezing people does work in PvP, and being frozen will pretty much translate to a death sentence as you become a free target. Even if your target knows beforehand that they're about to get hit with a Duskfield Grenade, it's still really hard to get out without getting frozen. Hey hunters, guess what? That Duskfield takes away your ability to hunter dodge. Have fun with that. Icarus Dash Warlocks, though, can get out with using Icarus Dash. Go figure. The best part, though, of the Duskfield Grenade is the suck factor. Throwing a grenade, even remotely near an enemy, will literally suck them into the dead center of the vortex. We measured, if you're within 9 meters of the grenade detonating on the floor, get ready to get sucked. Once the initial detonation is over though, you're free to try to get the hell out, but that initial suck factor is wild. Have an enemy hiding from you around a corner? Nope, get sucked, bro. No enemy wants to play with your Wither Horde dead zone? Nah, get sucked, bro. All kidding aside, probably a top tier nade for sure. Go have fun figuring out great weapon combos with the Duskfield grenade. The final new grenade is the Cold Snap grenade. It's essentially an icy version of the Arc Bolt. Throw it on the ground and it shoots a stream of ice along the floor directly at the nearest target. If it hits them, guess what? They are frozen. Yeah, they'll take 20 damage too, but the insta-freezing the target is really the entire point of the Cold Snap. Much like the Arc Bolt, the Cold Snap can target multiple enemies one after another, provided each new target is close by to the one who just got tagged. The tracking is also pretty aggressive, to the point where I was actually kind of impressed yet horrified. The ice can even climb walls and slink around corners while attempting to find a new target. It isn't unescapable though, kind of like the Arc Bolt grenade, a hunter dodge will break the tracking no problem. Also, really quickly jumping up and away from the Cold Snap seems to get you out of harm's way. That being said, the Cold Snap is still a hella strong grenade option in both PvE and PvP. All right, now let's talk about the Titan melee ability, Shiver Strike. This is going to be a love it when it works, hate it when it doesn't type situation. Your Titan is going to lunge forward a couple of meters and hit with a huge icy punch. Aside from doing damage directly, 105 damage on impact to be exact, Shiver Strike does a few other things. Your target will be knocked backwards several meters, which can be really funny, and also will be slowed. As Bungie mentioned in their November 12th TWAB, the slow condition does more than just make an enemy guardian move slower. Ability regeneration gets reduced, movement abilities get suppressed, and enemy weapon handling, movement, ADS speed, and even accuracy all get dropped down. Sounds great, right? The only downside is that the slowed factor on Shiver Strike is incredibly brief. I found that after slapping the bejesus out of an enemy guardian, they'd often get taken out of slowed mode before colliding with the wall I booped them into. Maybe later on, the Titan will get some exotics or a unique aspect fragment combo that allows them to extend the duration of slowing an enemy player with their punch. That would be great, but for right now, the slow factor is a tad too short for my liking. On the fun side, you can get a one-hit kill with this melee if you boop an enemy into a wall at just the right angle. It's not gonna happen every time, but damn is it funny when it does happen. Take note, if an enemy is near a glacier grenade or any stasis crystal that can be broken, by Shiver Striking through the crystal, you can also get a one-hit kill on a nearby enemy. Reason being is that breaking crystals can do AoE damage to nearby enemies, and that paired together with the impact of the punch equals one dead guardian. So if you know for a fact there's an enemy creeping around one of your crystals, try to plow through the ice and bash his brains in. Also, if you want to get really creative with glacier grenades, you can try to literally throw them at your own feet and launch yourself up into a Shiver Strike melee. Mostly for the lulz, but also to take enemies by surprise if they're not paying attention. Other tactics to put under the lull file are punching Sentinel Titans out of their bubble. If anyone tweets me a clip of them actually doing that to another player in a real game of PvP, i.e. not in a private lobby, I will award you 1 million internet points. I should also probably mention that you can kind of use Shiver Strike as a movement technique. Think of it like a shittier Icarus dash for the Warlock. You jump, melee, release the button so you don't crash all the way to the ground. Kinda like a mini sword skate. Folks may figure out additional uses for that melee movement, but just want to put it out there for now. Okay, now the bad stuff for Shiver Strike. Despite having a small lock-on effect, for the most part, it's relatively easy to miss landing the melee on an enemy. Folks in PvP can simply run and slide out. Also, you can just kind of jump over a Shiver Striking Titan, kinda like an acrobatic bullfighter. Because of how long the wind-up and active frames are, I'm kinda feeling that if you miss the melee in PvP, you might be a dead man, as it's very punishable if you F up. Try to get a lot of practice with Shiver Strike if you intend to use it. That way you'll learn more about when to smack other players, and maybe when to not risk it for the biscuit. And with that, let's move on to the Behemoth Super Glacial Quake. This is a roaming super where you summon an icy Thanos Infinity Gauntlet and charge around looking for trouble. Your primary attack is to slam your gauntlet down, creating a shockwave that freezes targets and sends out 6 crystals with each slam. The alternate fire attack is a cracked out version of your melee, Shiver Strike. You launch forward and hit enemies with an uber-powered Ice Punch. Punching a non-supered enemy with your beefed out Shiver Strike will one-shot kill them. Now you're probably thinking, hey Fallout, if the beefed up Shiver Strike one-shots while you're in your super, why freeze enemies at all? Why not run right up to a guy and just flat out one-shot him with the upgraded Shiver Strike? Good question. I mean, you definitely can do that, but remember, the hit registration is easy to whiff. This is nowhere near as generous as Bottom Tree Striker Shoulder Charge. Freezing enemies helps out a bunch because A, the enemy will stop shooting you, and B, they'll be held in place while you line up your one-shot Uber Punch. A few other pieces of info you'll really want to know about Glacial Quake. Activating the super within 7 meters of an enemy will auto-freeze them, meaning that if you get surprised by an enemy right up in your grill, pop your super without hesitation, they'll get frozen and you can bash them into a million pieces. Next piece of info, Glacial Quake is tanky AF. We tested it in PvP, and it seems that you'll get a 60% incoming damage reduction while in Glacial Quake. Not friggin' bad. If you do absolutely nothing in your super, it will last for 25 seconds. Not quite as long as the Shadebinder 30, but it means you can take your time while charging down enemies before spamming attack. While in your Glacial Quake super, any enemy that is frozen, you can simply run into them, like with your body, and they'll shatter and die. That is not to be confused with the Cryoclasm Titan aspect, which lets you slide into frozen targets for a free kill. That is awesome in its own right, but even without that aspect turned on or equipped, sprinting into a frozen enemy while you're in Glacial Quake will shatter them. Same thing goes for Glacier Crystals. So why punch frozen enemies to death when you can simply sprint into them? Punching is faster and more fun. Another thing to mention about Glacial Quake, you can bootleg Titan Skate around the map by repeatedly jumping and then Shiver Striking. Jump, Shiver Strike, jump, Shiver Strike. Yeah, I recorded a lot of footage in Mayhem where abilities charge very quickly, but we went into PvE and tested this out, and the skating still works there too. Just a little bit slower. Jump, Shiver Strike, and repeat. So official recommendation, Shiver Skate into a room of dudes, pound the ground and freeze everybody, then Shiver bash them into oblivion. Easy. Here's the good news. Glacial Quake works great on enemy guardians. Here's the bad news. It's not really an ideal roaming super killer, nowhere near as deadly to other supers like the Shadebinder Warlock is. Oh, you can definitely get the job done, but it won't be without great effort. I tried testing out the idea of only repeatedly freezing an enemy, trying to kill me with their roaming super, and it didn't quite work out. You simply don't do enough damage with the freeze attack alone to kill another roamer. You need the damage of the beefed up Shiver Strike, but while you're trying to Icy Hulk punch them, they're going to be smacking the hell out of you. Also, yeah, I mentioned earlier that you can freeze enemies and just run through them to get a kill, but enemies in their roaming super thaw out of being frozen almost immediately. You don't have the time you need to pull off the freeze, sprint through, insta-kill on a roaming super. Again, you can get the job done with freezing and repeated bashing, but it requires timing and practice. Glacial Quake doesn't even come close to the super killing power of the Shadebinder. But hey, look on the bright side, you can summon glaciers inside of an enemy Titan bubble and kill them with it, which is really funny. Bubble Titans are kind of getting the shaft out here with all the ice. All in all, the Behemoth is very fun to play, but easy to mess up. It's not the most user-friendly Titan class around, and I think in order for it to become extra spicy top tier in PvP, it's gonna need some help, either from some cracked exotics or from some baller aspect fragment combo to beef up the abilities. If any exotics or aspects or fragments drop that really make the class out of control, I'll be sure to let you know right here on the YouTube channel, so be sure to click subscribe and ring the notification bell to be alerted about future content. Thank you all very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.